Critics have lavished praise on Splitsville as a return to sophisticated screwball comedy. They're absolutely right to celebrate its kinetic energy, Dakota Johnson's comedic evolution, and Angelo Covino's confident directorial hand. The picture's 6-minute standing ovation at Cannes and 83% Rotten Tomatoes score reflect genuine audience hunger for relationship stories that can simultaneously mock and validate contemporary anxieties about monogamy. But this mainstream appreciation, while entirely valid, captures only the work's surface mechanics. Beneath its polished comedy lies something far more unsettling, a diagnostic portrait of how progressive relationship ideals can become sophisticated methods of emotional extraction. Splitsville doesn't just satirize open marriage, it exposes how modern sexual liberation often functions as emotional colonialism. Partners use progressive language to claim territory from each other while abandoning responsibility for their own personal landscape. The movie announces this thesis in its opening sequence with surgical clarity. Ashley and Carrie's off-key singing in the car, a deliberate subversion of romantic comedy convention, escalates through sexual proposition, vehicular disaster, accidental death, and Ashley's casual divorce request. This isn't random chaos, it's compressed argumentation. The car crash becomes literal metaphor for a relationship crash, while the sequence's tonal whiplash mirrors how these characters use radical honesty to avoid genuine interpersonal engagement. Ashley doesn't want to explore polyamory with Carrie. She wants to escape the taxing labor of their marriage while maintaining its infrastructure. Covino's visual strategy reinforces this theme through architectural metaphor. The extended fight between Paul and Carrie, shot as an elaborate tracking sequence through Paul's pristine modernist home, transforms domestic space into an emotional battlefield. As the men destroy furniture and artwork, the camera maintains elegant composure. This creates irony between the chaos of their actions and the sophistication of their environment. The scene's duration forces audiences to confront the real consequences of the characters' choices, rather than allowing comedic deflection. This isn't just well-executed slapstick, it's spatial psychology, using Paul's curated domestic perfection to externalize how he curates his relationships. The apartment montage sequence that tracks Ashley's serial dating through Carrie's wall-less loft provides even sharper analysis. Shot as a single extended take, the sequence uses architectural openness to literalize the character's relationship experiment while revealing its fundamental impossibility. As Ashley's former lovers accumulate in the space, watching movies, seeking career advice, forming their own social bonds, the visual joke transforms into a spatial metaphor for romantic colonization. Ashley hasn't liberated herself sexually. She's established an emotional extraction operation, where she harvests intimacy without reciprocal investment. Every supposedly enlightened choice these individuals make serves primarily to avoid genuine affective labor. Julie and Paul's open marriage isn't healthy polyamory, but mutually assured emotional destruction disguised as sophistication. Paul's polyamory rhetoric masks his fundamental need to possess and control Julie's desire. He wants the thrill of her sexual adventures without the vulnerability of true availability. Julie participates not from authentic desire, but from competitive relationship performance. She's afraid that rejecting openness reveals her as sexually regressive. This pattern extends throughout the ensemble. Ashley's pursuit of authentic sexual expression becomes a method of extraction from Carrie, using progressive language to justify abandoning their shared infrastructure while maintaining access to his stability and support. She doesn't want to do the work of addressing their incompatibilities. She wants to externalize the responsibility for her fulfillment while keeping Carrie as personal insurance. The film's most subversive insight lies in how it reveals contemporary sexual freedom as territorial expansion. Each character uses progressive relationship language to claim emotional territory from others while simultaneously abandoning responsibility for their own inner landscape. They've replaced traditional relationship constraints with a more sophisticated form of exploitation, one that deploys the vocabulary of liberation to justify a lack of accountability. Cinematographer Adam Newport-Berra's technical choices amplify this thematic complexity. His camera work employs classical Hollywood principles: clear spatial geography, motivated movement, emphasis on character faces during crucial beats. These create accessibility while supporting deeper analysis. The movie's warm wood and cool blue palette creates visual cohesion that mirrors the characters' surface sophistication while their inner chaos unfolds within these carefully composed frames. Critics have noted the work's tendency to tonal inconsistency in the final act, describing moments where it feels like it's spiraling out of control. But this apparent weakness actually strengthens the thematic coherence. The breakdown of narrative structure parallels the breakdown of relationship structure. This creates formal unity between technique and theme. As the characters' emotional facades crumble, so does the film's comedic containment. Splitsville succeeds because it never dismisses the genuine appeal of sexual liberation or the valid critiques of traditional monogamy. The picture understands why these characters gravitate towards non-monogamy: the promise of authenticity, the escape from possessiveness, the expansion of personal and sexual possibility. But it reveals how these ideals, when pursued as escape mechanisms rather than genuine growth, become merely another form of avoidance. The genius of Covino and Kyle Marvin's approach lies in their refusal to offer easy moral conclusions. They don't argue for traditional monogamy or against sexual exploration. Instead, they expose how any relationship structure, traditional or progressive, can become a performance designed to avoid the fundamental challenge of intimacy, the willingness to be genuinely known, and to genuinely know another person with all the vulnerability and responsibility that entails. This diagnostic precision elevates Splitsville beyond typical relationship comedy into cultural analysis. The film doesn't just entertain audiences who recognize their own relationship anxieties in its chaos. It provides a framework for understanding how contemporary relationship culture often substitutes ideology for intimacy, progressive language for courage. In revealing sexual liberation as potential emotional colonialism, Splitsville offers something rare: a comedy that uses laughter not to dismiss serious questions, but to make them visible. The narrative suggests that true relationship radicalism might not lie in expanding sexual boundaries, but in developing the emotional courage to inhabit whatever boundaries we choose with genuine presence and responsibility. That's a thesis worthy of both can ovations and sustained cultural conversation.